Where's Eddie?
Get out of there.
All right. I'm going to turn this off.
Good evening. I'd like to welcome you to the August school board meeting, and I'm going to ask everyone to stand and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge of allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So did everybody have a good first day? Crushed it? I like that. Who?
How was your day, Toby?
Did you crush it? Did you crush it today?
We crushed it. We more than crushed it.
Oh, there's going to be a battle.
Good.
here
I just like right now the fact that we got a bunch of smiling faces in here on the first day of school. And yesterday's teacher event, I didn't get to stay for all of it, but it was a super novel idea of the red carpet and Kelly Hayes and Van Steuben. That was pretty funny stuff, pretty good stuff. And I felt a different sense of excitement and encouragement, and that's a tribute to you guys. So we'll get started with the meeting. Okay, so we've had the agenda board for tonight. Any changes, Dr. Rollins?
The agenda would stand as presented.
Motion that we accept the agenda as presented. Second.
So we have a motion by Mrs. Creek, a second by Mrs. Cook to approve the agenda for tonight. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Board, you've also had the minutes from the previous meeting. Are there any changes, additions, or corrections to the minutes?
Mr. President, I'll make a motion we accept the minutes as presented.
Do I hear a second? Have a motion by Mr. Luttrell and a second by Mr. Emerson to approve the minutes. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? This is the time of the board meeting where we would entertain patron comments. If you had any comments, questions, concerns, you can come and address the board. Tell us who you are first, and just remember we can't take any action on what you have comments for tonight, sir.
Okay.
All right.
Dennis DeBusk. I have spoken in front of y'all one other time, I think, but I felt like it was very necessary to come here tonight. The last 6 months have been unbelievable in my life. I came here 23 years ago. This lady, come here, babe. My wife, Paula, she's been with me for 20 of that. And I came here not even knowing if I'd be past the semester. Remember we talked about that, Doc, at the time. And this has become my home. And to be honored to be voted into the Hall of Fame was beyond belief, the Athletic Hall of Fame. And then the other night at that, when Dr. Rollins got up and announced that the track was going to be, my name was going to be on that, it's just been unbelievable. I want you to know I couldn't be here if this lady hadn't been by my side. She's allowed me to go do things and took care of the family. I said, when I need to go. But when I knew y'all approved it, I had to come tonight and personally thank y'all for this honor. I knew y'all were involved in it and all of that, and I just wanted to take this few minutes of your time to tell you thank you, and that it's something that I'll not get over. I hope it's the last time I have to talk to you for a while.
Probably not.
Thank you.
He doesn't want to talk to us anymore.
So with that, Dr. Rollins?
He hurried away. He knew I was giving a speech, I think, don't you? Let me tell you one Coach DeBus story, and my guess, perhaps everybody in the room could tell one. For the 23 years that he worked in the district, that first day of school, he'd find his way to my office in the most humble, most genuine way in the world. He would say, "Thank you for allowing me to work in the school district." That doesn't happen very often, but that touches your heart in a special way. It's great to see his name on the new track at Springdale High School. That's a memory that this community will share forever. And he is the kind of person with the character and the service that he provided for our kids, which is everlasting. So I would extend my thank you to as well for us allowing that to take place. I don't have to tell anyone in this room what a special place the Springdale School District is. And when you open school, you live those things all over again. We've had meetings with our new teachers, meetings with our principal, the chamber meetings where we had the groups in the morning and the groups in the afternoon. And then, as Kevin's already addressed, yesterday we had the entire group together. And the spirit among our principals and teachers and frankly school partners is the kind of thing that would inspire anyone, I think, as we go forward. So again, board, thank you for all that. Just a few days ago, some of us had an opportunity to be in Little Rock with Joel Luckadoo. And Joel, as you know, was our nominee for State Teacher of the Year. And I haven't seen Joel in the audience. Did I miss him? There you go. At any rate, it was really special to be in the meeting with the State Teachers of the Year, those who were nominated, and to see the list come from 15 down to 4. And it was sure good to see Joel's name on that list. Kind of some of us breathed a deep sigh of relief when he was called, because we know the kind of educator he is. And I think all of us believe that he has every chance to be the Arkansas Teacher of the Year. But he is our Teacher of the Year, and we're so very, very proud of him and all that he does. From the standpoint, board, of opening the school year, I've sent you various materials that I've prepared to kind of guide the conversation, et cetera. We put some additional information in front of you. But as you know, those of you who could be in the meeting yesterday, our focus for the year is to continue to dig deeper and to really learning how to personalize teaching and learning for every student. We think we're going to have over 23,000. The numbers haven't all come in yet. It'll take a few days to get all those things sorted out, but these teachers and principals tell me that their schools are full, and so I think we'll have a really good count. My guess is we'll see a positive growth of 200, 250, 300 additional students above the number we had last year. If we do, that'll be a good growth year for sure. So we're excited about all that. A little bit later, so I won't dig too deep into Dr. Cleveland's presentation at all, but at our new teacher orientation, I think we had about 120 new teachers. 13 or 14 of those are new positions, additional positions, et cetera. So I hope and believe we're pretty well staffed, although we do have changes taking place even today. So it's an ongoing process until school settles here the first few days. A lot of great things has happened. You heard Dr. Davis's comment. Nothing short of a miracle has happened. When we talked about transitioning from the Archer Learning Center to the Springdale Youth Center, and knowing the refinements, the changes that had taken place here, it was a major undertaking. Dr. Cleveland's here, Jeremy's here, and perhaps other great leaders who helped make all that happen, Kobe, so you could have school out there today. And no small testament at all to you and your team, because y'all been a part of it as well. And we're so very proud of you. Let's give all concerned with the and I know your numbers will grow and grow and grow over the next weeks, but I expect we'll see new enrollment highs for our ALE as well. So, Doc, thank you for all you do.
He's
Yeah,
smiling,
you'll come
look at
back
him.
to that if you will when you make your facilities report, but I really am proud of the work that the team did with that ALE. It's great. So you're also seeing our athletic fields being completed. We're really pleased about all that. So we'll get those reports as well. There's major improvements going on across the district. You know, the phase 2 of the SOI. If you've been on that side, on that campus, you know that's going to be a beautiful, beautiful addition. You also know that we've got new health centers coming forward that will really add a great deal to Parson Hills, et cetera. So, Jared, that brings our number to 4.
Yes, sir.
That'll be 4 health centers in the community, and each of those serve children and, frankly, families to the highest level. The work of the instructional team has just been phenomenal. Dr. Smith does an enormous job, a beautiful job, an outstanding job leading the Division of Instruction. And now Ms. Tisher, Ms. Childress has joined her along with Damon Donnell. So we're at full capacity as a team and off to a great start. So, Board, any questions that you might have of me about the opening of school? Randy, just start with you. Anything?
Not yet.
Okay.
Everything's off to a good
Debbie?
start.
I don't have any questions, but while we're talking about Archer, I want to make sure that Jeremy gets recognized.
Yeah, I mentioned Jeremy.
Okay, well,
It wouldn't happen without Jeremy, that's for sure. Thank you.
because what those teams did is, like, I was there. I saw it. I really didn't think it could happen. So, sorry, I wasn't doubting you. I saw him take a lunch the other day, and I stopped to ask him if he really had time for that.
Well, I think Mr. Owenby would join in with that. Apparently, he did a drive-through last night and was, had a question or two, but.
Of course, I didn't stay the whole time yesterday at the teachers' event. And when I left Springdale High School, I thought, well, I'll drive by Archer, and it was about 10 o'clock, and I drove by and I said, there is no way they're having school there tomorrow. There were windows out and people on scaffolding, and there's no way. And then this morning we saw all these beautiful pictures of kids walking in school, and I was like, man, somebody didn't sleep much last night.
I think Jeremy, maybe Alan said something to the effect about 5:30 yesterday afternoon, you know, we're going to be here a while. And visited with the construction management team. You're going to be here a while too, aren't you? So it does take a team, that's for sure.
That's a good deal. That's
Mr.
awesome.
Owenby, any questions about
No, I
anything,
don't.
comments? Michelle? Nick? Mike? Well, I just think things will get better and better as we go through the week and into the new year, but we're off to a great start. And as always, Board, I thank you for all you do to help make that happen. Okay. If you look at page 20 on 2021 on your agenda, you know we're going to meet again next week, and we're going to come together and have our planning session as we look into the new year. And I've suggested a number of things there. Some were on the prior agenda, and then some minor modifications. But take a look at that agenda, and if there are other things that you would like for us to consider, we can certainly make the amendments that we need to do that. There's also a schedule on page 23 for school board lunches, and you can see we tried to focus on Wednesdays during the school year, and I believe we start next week. Michelle, are you looking at that? When do we start? Is it Wednesday? Next Wednesday. So we'll look forward to the visits in the schools. You'll get to meet our kids and teachers and principals firsthand as they pursue learning at the highest level. Okay. Any other questions for me about anything? Marcia, you ready? Thank you, Board.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rollins and members of the board. I know next week we have a focus meeting, but I wanted to just give you a little brief glimpse at what we've been doing. So we started off with our chamber event, and it was great. We appreciate all of the businesses that were there to support us, and those of you that are here in the room that helped as well. And then we had an excellent day yesterday. I will say it was really a highlight, and we enjoyed every bit of that. One of the things that we've been doing with our administrators is our focus this year is on Start With Why. That is our title. And you'll hear more about that next week. But with that, we also know that it's important that we understand where we've come from and how deep our roots go, and that we take those roots and we build them, and we really have a strong foundation of why. So if you were able to stay at the meeting yesterday, you saw this video. It was the very last thing we showed, but we are going to show it again. But before I do, just a quick thing. The idea was the C&I team met with our principals with the idea we wanted them to go out into the community and kind of identify their roots. What are the things in Springdale that really hold us together? You will see a lot of people in the shape of why, because that is our focus this year. The idea was also that principals would take it back to their building and do it with their teachers. And then we're going to move it on later on throughout the year, and we're going to do that with our students as well. So it's going to be a year-long focus on starting with why. But I also wanted to say, you mentioned the red carpet. Yesterday, we could not have done it without Trent's vision and without Paul Miller helping. I know Trent can hear me somewhere out in cyber, but he was the mastermind behind that and helped pull all that together, so he deserves a lot of credit for that. Paul Miller as well with all the technology that's been happening also. But I'm going to leave you with this video. No, this is the administrator's version of it, and then after that, we'll have Ms. Childress and Ms. Tischer come forward and share their parts.
My favorite part is at Parson Hills is making new friends.
There are lots of great teachers, and they just help you learn. And if you want to give up, they just don't let you give up.
Thank you so much to all the Springdale faculty and staff for all your support throughout my years within the Springdale School District.
First best friend was a 6th string. Took him with me everywhere I go. When I was 18, bought a Dodge van. Found a drummer and made the road my home. Ooh, I wouldn't change a thing. It made the man I am today. My roots always keep me grounded. Roots remind me where I'm from. Even when I'm 1,000 miles away from my roots, I'm home.
Why do you love school? Because it's time, because for lunch time.
Springdale is my home. It's where my children grew up. It's where I grow my students daily.
I like Springdale because the community's growing. There's always opportunities.
Ooh, I wouldn't change a thing. It made the man I am today. My roots always keep me grounded. Roots remind me where I'm from. Even when I'm 1,000 miles away from my roots, I'm home.
We work in Springdale because we love the kids. We are fortunate enough to work with amazing families, and we wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
I love everything about Springdale. I grew up in Springdale. I think it's a great community, diverse community. The school system is the most outstanding school system in the entire country.
I wouldn't live anywhere else. Springdale is, if you talk about community, you talk about people, having a business here and the way we've integrated in, I mean, I love it. I wouldn't change a thing about it.
Teach the writers, not the writing.
Gets you stronger. Roots, always keep it grounded. Roots, remind me where I'm from. Even when I'm 1,000 miles away from my roots, I'm home. My roots, always keep it grounded. Roots, remind me where I'm from.
I teach in Springdale because this is home, from kindergarten through 12th grade, and we give amazing opportunities to students, like our East Classroom.
This is home to me, and I love it, and my roots are here in Springdale.
We love that Springdale has a family feel to it, and it's just a sweet place to live. The people are really kind. It seems like the school district's really trying to invest in the kids.
I've seen the teacher, they've shown how to care not just about those students, but also their families. I've seen them really spend time with them.
I think what makes Springdale schools special is that the fact that you guys choose to invest in your kids now and choose to invest in them even after they graduate. So I thank you for what you do and keep being rock stars.
The impact that you have on your students' lives truly does last a lifetime. I know that it certainly has for me. So I just wanted to thank you all for your contributions and good luck in this new school year.
I know firsthand what a difference it truly makes that you guys have invested your lives into your students, and I would not have been afforded the opportunities I have today if it wasn't for many of the teachers that are sitting in this room right now.
Even when I'm 1,000 miles away from my roots, I'm home. Don't give up, hold on a little longer. What don't care only makes us stronger. Don't give up, hold on a little longer. What don't care only makes us stronger. Don't give up, hold on a little longer. What don't care only makes us stronger. Don't give up, hold on a little longer. What don't care only makes us stronger. Don't give up, hold on a little longer. What don't care only gives you stronger.
Good evening. What a special video. It makes me so emotional every time I see it. The first item that I'm going to present on this evening is in regards to the results of the AP testing. And I think, yes, we have a slide. Oops, nope, I'm going to go back. The artifact for you, or the exhibit regarding AP testing, is on pages 32 through 38. The celebration for us this year is the fact that we were able to give out 150 high fives to Springdale students for AP scores. And if you remember last year, we started doing the high five yard signs. And so for any student who scores a 5 on their AP exam, their teacher delivers a sign and they can display that sign in their yard. And so if they make more than 1 5, they get more than 1 sign. And I'm sure you all have seen these around town, and I included some photos for you as well. This year, between the high schools, we had approximately 1,238 students who took AP exams, and those 1,238 students took 1,950 exams. And then we had 166 brave junior high students who took AP Human Geography exams, and so we're very proud of those students. At this time, I would like to invite Ms. Carol Turley to the podium. Ms. Turley is going to report out to you regarding our students who are candidates for International Baccalaureate Diploma, and Ms. Turley is the International Baccalaureate Coordinator for our district.
Good evening, Board. Thank you so much for this opportunity and for the opportunity to be the International Baccalaureate Diploma Program Coordinator for these young people that are behind me. They're just a sample of our students, of course. So these young people, these 3 and 2 others, earned the IB diploma this past school year, so we're wanting to recognize them. But before we do that real quick, I wanted to mention to you that they're my why. They're why I will spend hours at school. And my husband's going, are you going to make the 8 o'clock rule? The 8 o'clock rule at our house is, if you're not home, then I'm going to go ahead and eat something else. And, I'm going to prepare my own supper. So are you going to make the 8 o'clock rule? And these young people, some of them are first college generation students. Some are English language learners. Some are students who have parents who have college education, but they wanted a program to challenge them. And I'm glad to help support them in doing that. So we currently have 52 students that are in the IB junior and senior class, and we have 25 that are 10th graders, soon to be. We had 17 in this class, and 5 earned the diploma. We had 8 that missed the diploma by 1 or 2 points, so we would have been at 75%. We're getting better every year, Dr. Rollins. I promise we are getting better. So they have had authentic engagement in their education, and they have had student ownership of their learning. And they're getting ready to go do some really phenomenal things. We occasionally hear back from students from previous classes. Have one who is currently at the Argonne National Laboratory. I believe that's in New Mexico. He's done an internship there this summer. He's at U Chicago, second year. And then I have a student who just finished her semester abroad in France as her second year in Emory University. So to think that she can go as a sophomore and be in French classes, that says a lot about, I think, our French program at Springdale High, not to mention, all of it's wonderful, of course. All right, so let me introduce you to our 3 that were able to make it tonight. We have, if you'll, actually, Dr. Rollins, will you come forward to, yes, we'll let you present. Now, these are not the diplomas. The diplomas come in August, but they are a little bit of our appreciation of earning the diplomas. So, all right, let me make sure that I have them in alphabetical order.
We're good?
We're good? Yeah. So this is Diana Campos. She will be attending New York University, and that's the Tisch School of the Arts. And I'd like for you guys to know that that is the number 5 School of the Arts, ranked number 5th in the nation. Yeah. So, and then we have with us Angeles, Diaz. I've done that all 3 years. Yay. She's attending the University of Arkansas, Fayetteville. And we know what the University of Arkansas is. That's our university and our back door. We are proud for her to go there as well. And then Thomas Gray, he will be attending the University of Central Arkansas and be in the Honors College. Honors College Awards, it's a full ride, basically, to go there. So each of them had to take 6 exams. So in our 17 students, we had 102 AP exams given over a course of 2 years. And you may want to ask them some questions because they have phenomenal stories about their experience in IB this past year, 2 years perhaps.
Can I go first, Mr. President?
Sure.
Okay. Of course, I'm intimidated just to ask a question of the 3 of you, but I'm kind of curious, what will you major in and what are your future plans, so each of you?
I'm majoring in biology. I want to go to medical school and be a pediatrician.
Awesome. Good.
I'm majoring in cinema studies, and I want to be a film director.
Very good.
I'm majoring in music education, and I want to be a music director.
That's great.
So how many years were y'all in the IB program?
2 years. It's 2 years.
2 years. Okay.
would you tell someone that's interested in doing IB?
It's worth it. You really learn about the rigor of what college is going to be like, and it's an excellent preparation for sure. So.
I would say the same thing, like just do it. Everyone who's asked me, I'm like, go for it. It's just better at preparing you for what you're going to be doing in college. For example, we have to write a 4,000 word essay, and no other class you're gonna do that, so.
I think I'm going to add on with that with the preparation. Definitely not just that, but I think the way the classes are handled is different than maybe an AP or any other class would. I think they're more about like the critical thinking, like you actually coming up with it than just studying for a test.
Students, board, special guest, will you all stand and give this wonderful lady?
Oh, well, of course. Wait, can I ask one more question? Do I get to, Kevin? Okay, I'm curious. So we've asked teachers, we've seen a video of the why. Why did you answered the question of, if somebody else is going to do it, why did you do it? Was there a teacher? What led you to say, okay, I want to do this?
For me, it was my parents. My parents always grew up like hardworking and stuff, and I felt like the least I could do would definitely be to excel in school and do the best that I can do to go to college.
I joined the IB program because my older sister actually did as well. So she graduated in 2014, but she didn't get the diploma by 1 point. So
throw that in there.
Yeah. So I've kind of always followed her footsteps in that way, so decided to do it as well. Okay, so for the Tisch School of Arts, you have to submit a portfolio. And for cinema studies specifically, you have to submit a essay about a film that you like or in general. And I had already chosen to do my extended essay over one of my favorite movies, which is the long essay you have to write. So I just submitted my extended essay as my portfolio. Yeah. So, yeah, because I didn't even know that was like a thing until like 5 days before the application was due, and I was like, oh no. and then I looked on there and it was like, write an essay about your favorite movie, and I was like, check, already done.
So what's your favorite movie?
Moonlight, directed by Barry Jenkins, yes.
Why I did it 3 years ago, I was here at a board meeting, and a student named Abigail Adams stood in front of y'all, and she had gotten the diploma, and she talked about how it prepared her, and she sold me in the same meeting, so.
That's awesome. That's a good story. Good.
They're amazing.
They are. Good job, guys.
If you all will step out front with Miss Turley, we're going to get a picture with you all with Miss Turley. Thank you, Miss Turley. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Next up, I would like to introduce Miss Kelly Williamson, our phenomenal career and technical education director. Yes, she is amazing and manages many programs across our district. She's going to report out on our ACES program, which is our partnership program with the Chamber, where we join together as teachers and educators with business leaders and talk about how we can better prepare our students for the world ahead of them. And then she is also going to present some highlights of 2019, this past summer, career and technical education activities that occurred.
Thank you. Good evening. If I have some slides as well, if I'm going, there we go. So this year, our Springdale Chamber of Commerce hosted I think it's our third, maybe fourth ACES, which stands for, because I never can remember and I'm always asking Brooke. And it's the Academy of Career Educators in Springdale, and it was hosted this year at Home 2 Suites. It was a very brand new, very nice facility. It met our needs very well. We had over 50 counselors, teachers, administrators come together to learn more about our community. And in doing so, one of the first things we did was to go to Northwest Medical, and it was really cool for all of the teachers to be able to go through and look at all of the different jobs that are available to our students. And this gentleman, Mr. Hans Dresnack, has just been an amazing partner with us this year in our school district, especially at Don Tyson School of Innovation, where he has created an opportunity just by being invited to come to SOI for a reverse job? Kelly, I saw you come in. It's an interview process that they had. And he was so impressed by what the students were able to do that he gave them all a job, an internship. And they were able to do a lot of activities together throughout the year. And it's just been amazing. And I love his take on what he wants is neighbors taking care of neighbors. And that really means a lot. No one knows our community better than our students. We represent that with our Marshallese culture, our Hispanic culture, and we have a lot of need in that area at the hospital. And the hospital, like Springdale High School and HAR-BER and SOI, we're a town unto ourselves. I mean, there's towns in Arkansas that aren't as big as our high schools. And we have different facilities and different programs of study that equal what's available in the hospital. So it was really interesting. We also got to look at the helicopter, and that is super tiny, and I hope I never have to get in there. But the jobs and the skills that these gentlemen and ladies and gentlemen have was amazing. And I can see, and all of us could see, our students working in these positions. And I think that's one of the things that challenged all of us through this is, as a teacher, as a administrator or a counselor, what do we see and how can we share that with our students so that they can understand what jobs are available? And then as teachers, how can we bring these business people into our classroom and share the relevance of what the world is about today? The next one, we went to George's. I had never been to George's. I've passed by it almost every day of my life. And it's really cool to think about having the opportunity to do that. I actually had Carl's and Charles George in my class in 2001, so it was really kind of an honor to get to see them in the CEO role and how far they've come. And just that these executive chefs here are making recipes for Panda and for Zaxby's. And they're doing this in our backyard. I mean, it's amazing. To the right of that were two interns from the U of A that mimicked these two professionals. And just the opportunities that we're gonna have to provide internships for our students, job shadowing for our students, get these people to come in to our schools. It's just amazing. I'm so excited about it. And then the last tour that we went to on the third day of the event was at Murphy Hoffman Company, Kenworth. This is a brand new facility out on Wagon Wheel Road. We were all very impressed, state of the art. It's very clean. A lot of times CTE has a vision of being like dirty or not technologically advanced at all, but it's very technologically advanced, and there's a lot of jobs that students are capable of doing now in high school. So to take them and to share this with them at all the different levels was just really inspiring to all of us. It was a lot of fun to network also as teachers and think about how we can bring this into our classroom. One of the last things we did, and these were just a few, we had probably over a dozen different businesses that came in and networked with our teachers, and you can see a picture here of what that looked like. We did kind of a speed dating environment where you were given probably 5 minutes, and we were able to ask questions about the industries and what kind of jobs they provided and how students could get involved, and would they, face-to-face connection, would you come into our classroom? Would you work on this project with us? Can you provide some supplies? Not necessarily monetary, but in kind, just the time that they can spend with us and the knowledge that they can share can really inspire students. And then it all ends up to how can we connect that to our our career programs that often do lead to post-secondary or college work, and the experiences that our students can gain through assessing one of these programs of study. So this is just one for STEM. We have others in trade and industry, which would be our medical. We have business, we have family consumer sciences. So there's a lot of others. I just gave you this one as an example. So we have students that are working in these current programs in our schools at each of our junior high and high schools. And a lot of counselors, teachers were new to the district, but to understand, hey, this is what we've got, and to make it more aware to them, this is what you can do, and this is where you can go. And providing a mentor that would help them, many times if they are working there, they can get their college paid for. I mean, I want that for my daughter, right? And the experience, not just to say I have a college degree, but these are the skills. This is what I know, this is what I've worked on, and this is my portfolio. So that's what we're working on, and that's what we did. Any questions about that? Okay. The last thing is our summer activities. There are lots of what we call CTSOs, Career Technical Student Organizations, and that's what they are there. FFA is Future Farmers of America. DECA is Marketing, Finance, Hospitality, and Management. Skills has to do with construction and welding and computer graphics. They all kind of have events where students can compete. That is a link. I don't know if you can get to it on your PowerPoint, the CTE awards. I don't know how to do it on this, like what? I don't think it's going to work. But there is a list there of all the awards. We have students that obviously at SOI are competing at the international level. We're very excited about that, representing from Springdale, Arkansas. But we also had national competitors in each of these categories. Each of our schools have been recognized, our teachers have been recognized, and we're very, very proud of them. So the list is so long, and Tisha told me I didn't have enough time. So the list is there, so I would love for you to look at it and to see what they're doing. Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thanks for the information. Thank you.
She does an amazing job with this stuff. What she didn't give herself credit for is it's a year in the length of processing to get all this coordinated with the schools and with the chamber and everything, and she led the way the whole time, holding meeting after meeting, and just did an amazing job. The reason I am back is because Mr. Lookadoo has made it in the building, and so Mr. Lookadoo, did you want to come forward? I know Dr. Rollins gave you an amazing set and gave a great foundation of all the stuff that you've accomplished, but I wanted to give you a moment to share with the board.
Sorry about being late. Still sweating a little bit from bus duty. But no, really thankful for just the opportunity of, sure. Oh, nice. Get to look at myself while talking. No, just really thankful for this opportunity to get to represent Springdale. There's so many great things happening in this district, and to get to be the one to carry that torch for the district. It's truly an honor. We'll see where it goes from here. So they'll come and do some classroom observations and some interviews at the end of September, and then they give themselves a really long timeline. So anywhere from then to December, they'll announce. And but yeah, we'll see what happens. But it's been a fun experience getting to go to Little Rock and kind of do all of that. So yeah, are there any questions or anything?
What are you doing right now? You just changed roles, right?
Yeah, so I've been at Lakeside teaching Algebra 1. That's what I've done for all 6 years. And so this year I'm at SOI, and I'll be kind of the math and science instructional facilitator. And so kind of a little different role for sure. But yeah, I'm excited to do it. It'll be fun.
Good for you.
Yeah,
So,
that's awesome.
awesome. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, appreciate it.
Good evening. The first agenda item that I have is to introduce the team from Sonora. As you all know, we recently had a Writing Institute, and one of the things that I think is so special about the Lucy Calkins Institutes is it trains our own Springdale teachers and administrators to be leaders, to lead our entire district in the implementation of writing units of study and reading units of study. And Dr. Stuman's team at Sonora, she had a large team that went, and I will say, when I was in their building last week, I got to see firsthand her teachers stepping up and taking the lead and leading her faculty in professional development and helping to move them forward. They have really embraced the literacy initiative, and so they're going to talk to you a little bit about their experience at the Writing Institute.
So I think that I could just say for all of the faculty at Sonora that we are so grateful to the board for the opportunity that we had to be at that Homegrown Institute. Why is the big hot word of this school year, and I think being at that institute, at the Homegrown Institute, helped me figure out my why for this school year. I felt as a teacher very empowered to go teach writing, to teach literacy, just to be a good teacher. I've taught for 13 years, and there were things that were said during that institute that I thought, why haven't I ever thought of that before? And it was maybe just some tiny little tweak, some tiny little thing. But I now feel prepared to go and empower my students. And I kind of want to go past the Institute just a little bit. We were an affiliate school last year as well for Lucy Calkins for our reading. And I sat in a classroom with one of the facilitators, thank you, staff developers, and there was a little guy named Mitchell. And Mitchell, he had a hard time. He had a hard time with everything at school, with reading, with writing, with math, even just being at school. And this facilitator helped him in a way that I will never forget. We all left being like, oh my. She pulled him into a small group on grade level content, stuff that he never would have even dreamed he could have done. And she presented that information in a way to him where he felt successful. The smile on his face, I will never forget. They are empowering us, and in turn, we get to empower our own students to know that they can in all things, not just reading and writing. They will feel that they can be a successful student. And for that, I'm so grateful for the opportunity that we have to have this partnership with the Teachers College.
I'm just going to talk a little bit more about the Homegrown Institute that we did attend. If you will, just think about when you were younger and your teacher told you to get all your writing out, get prepared. She typically gave you a prompt, told you exactly what to write about, which is what the whole class was writing about. Whether it pertained to you, whether you knew what it was, it didn't matter. So you sat there and you're like wondering what in the world it is or what do I write? Then you have to plan before you can write. Then you finally think you got your product and you get it back and it's all marked up. You've got to fix it again. You have your rough draft and a final draft, and it's so painstaking. And it just discourages. Well, during our institute, we were put in the place of students. We learned what it was to be like to be in their shoes, but to be in their shoes from the Writing Institute's perspective. And it was amazing. I am not a writer. I don't consider myself a writer by any means. But we were given a few minutes to take down ideas of things that we would want to write about, things that were important to us. That makes all the difference in the world. You give students their own choice, they open up. We were engaged. Our students are going to be engaged. It was fun. We had fun writing. I think we all did. And not only that, but we wanted to share. I don't know if I've ever written anything that I've wanted to actually read what I wrote. I wanted to share my story. And I don't know if Mr. Swoop minds me picking on him. He was actually my partner in the Writing Institute. He had a wonderful story too. But I've seen firsthand what our reading units of study have done for our kids and the passion for reading that it's instilled in our kids and the transformation. It's my 13th year also, 3rd year for Springdale, and the kids that I have watched grow in reading over the last few years has been amazing, and I can't wait for them to get engaged and just start writing and to enjoy it. I'm really excited for this year.
Now, I went ahead and put a few things on paper because I was afraid I wouldn't remember after the long day, but I just wanted to share with you that this is my 25th year to teach, and so I went in with that attitude, well, I've taught reading and I've taught writing processes before, but that's just it. I've taught the process. And the Writing Institute that we went to taught me that we need to teach the writer, not the writing. And so that was inspiring to me that I need to stop, slow down, take a breath, and meet each child where they are. So taking the time, like my colleagues were sharing, actually staring at the blank paper and putting myself in that situation helped me to see where where I have put my students. So having the support behind me of all the administration and my administration from the school, knowing that they have invested a lot into us to do the great things, it helps me to do the great things that we need to do. With the students, I was able to see how we can tie in all the things that we do with the Lucy Calkins units of study. We have the writing. Now we have the reading that we've been working with, and and the phonics. We're able to bring all of those components together in a balanced literacy type thing. And so what I taught in reading today, I can also teach it in the writing itself. It's going to show up how to implement that and to make it cohesive. And it's a beautiful thing. Everything goes together. So I appreciate, again, with the support of everyone else, because that inspires me to do the same thing, and expect that out of our students.
I'm new to the district, but I'm not new. I've taught 23 years, and I've been in 2 other districts besides this district. And within that 23 years, I've been a literacy coach. I've gone through Reading First. I've gone through Kinston Mass's Lit Lab. The writing program that I went through this summer, the editing portion is the strongest editing portion I have seen over the 23 years. There was something always missing, I felt, in writing over the 23 years. Because the children would write and then be done. What do I do now? 5 minutes. This teaches them, this helps me teach them how to go back and recreate over and over and over. And that process of thought follows everything that you do in life. If you're done in 5 minutes, I mean, that's the story of our kids nowadays. We don't need to be done in 5 minutes. And for me, that brought all of that together, and it solidified the fact that we need to be patient and we need to fix things over and over and over. Nothing's ever perfect at the end. You've still got stuff to fix. So I truly do believe in this. Thank you. And thank you for hiring me.
We studied over it. We studied over it. Made a good call.
She's a little shy.
We're working on it, yeah. I really don't need to say anything because they have said it, but I would be remiss if I didn't just commend our staff. We had 21 people give up a week, 21 people just from our building give up a week to come do that. We have some that are here in support tonight. They're here on the first day of school, and just the passion and things that are coming through. So I just want to stand up for a minute and commend them just on the week that they gave and coming tonight and truly being advocates for the work that we're doing.
Thank you.
I don't have any questions, but I just want to say thank you for your hard work and your passion, and it just exudes out of you how much you love kids and how much you love what you do, and I just appreciate that.
And we want to see the process when we can.
Absolutely.
It's not perfect.
But
again, it's a process. I mean, it's learning. I mean, and just even a few things that you've said makes me rethink. Okay, well, really thinking about how you edit or how you present anything, and
think about life, really.
yeah,
Every day, all day long.
and wanting to be and even giving people a choice of what to write about. We've always grown up and write about your summer, or write about whatever, and just how if being put in their shoes for a minute. I mean, that's a big deal, and it's a hard. Our doors are open. Hard process. So.
Give us a week.
That's exciting. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next I'm going to introduce Justin Swope from Lee and Andy Acuff from Monitor Elementary. This summer, their schools partnered with the University of Arkansas's Project Connect program and SOAR program to provide a summer school for ESL students, and I'll let them tell you a little bit more about that.
Hi, good evening. So you've learned with development, there's always, you need to have the task side of things and the relationship side of things. Does that sound familiar, being in Springdale leadership for a long time? So we're going to take that approach tonight. I'm the task guy. She's the relationship. So we're gonna share with you the experiences at both of our schools, and she's going to close with some really great stories from what happened at Monitor. So we had the chance a couple of years ago. The University of Arkansas reached out to me. They had received a grant to have a summer school, and so that's a federal grant, and they, through that, created a program called Project Connect and Project SOAR. Project Connect is for kindergarten through third grade English learning students, and Project SOAR is for fourth through seventh graders. At Lee Elementary, we do that with our rising students. So we had pre-K through rising fifth graders. They were at Monitor. They were able to accommodate the sixth graders that were going to their next middle school. So the program this summer was a Jump Start program where we get students a little bit before school starts instead of what's, I guess, I wouldn't call it traditional, but a classic model of keeping students after school ends in the beginning of the summer. We wanted to get kids up towards the end of the summer so we can do a Jump Start program. So teachers first came in July 11th through the 13th, and they received job-embedded development. They also received some specific development regarding how to coach themselves. It was focused on ESL strategies, and it was provided by the employees with Project SOAR and Project Connect that are funded through that grant. I'd be remiss, and she's going to share a couple of words here at the end, but Dr. Janet Penner-Williams with the University of Arkansas, she's the one that approached me a couple of years ago about this, and she is the coordinator for the overall grant. I've also invited Dina Self. She's our site coordinator. And we have several employees with each of these programs, 16 teachers at each site. We also have instructional assistants. We hire, at each school, we've hired 2 parent liaisons to help us visit with our families. And, of course, a site coordinator. I did say Dina Self. I did. Okay, Dina. And so some of the numbers Like I said, July 11th through 13th, the teachers received professional development. The students were with us for 2 weeks, July 15th through the 26th. So at Lee, we had about 106 students a day. They had about 100 students each day in each of those grade levels we talked about. We were able to provide transportation to our summer programs. The Educational Renewal Zone helped fund that transportation. We provided 2 meals a day. Employees of the district provided the transportation and also provided the meals, and the health department paid for those meals. And so, as you can see, and I'll share a couple of other things, there's a lot of partnerships that came together with these summer programs. We also reached out to parents and had parents come at the beginning of the, before the summer school started, and shared materials with them on how they could work with their children at home, and really just try to have that homeschool connection built. And they were provided free kits and other materials in order to do that. The Northwest Arkansas Literacy Council donated books for home libraries, as did Barnes & Noble. So again, partnerships just came together here, Dr. Rollins. Students, the class sizes were about 4 to 12 students. They received interactive lessons in math, in reading, in writing. And again, the target group of students are English learners. The university has been very purposeful about looking at the data and how are the data compared to a control group of students. So they've been working with us on pulling those standardized map data to take a look at how our students in their program comparing. I don't have those results yet, if that became a question, and I don't believe you do as well. And so again, just a great partnership opportunity, a great chance for us to get a head start on providing skills and providing a boost on students getting ready to start the school year. So Andy has, that's the task. Those are the data, those are the information. Andy's going to share some relationship things that happened.
Well, I just wanted to start by sharing how we ended up with the program. I had a teacher who taught at Justin's program last year, and she came back and she said, that was awesome, we have to have it, our kids can benefit from that. And so she helped us advocate for that, and we were able to extend the program from Lee to also add Monitor as an additional site, which extended it to over 100 more students. And so we were very excited, and my teacher took the lead with that. She wanted to have it, so she advocated and did what we needed to do in order to do that. She became a site leader at our building this year. Talking about the teacher aspect of that, it's not just focused on the students, but it's also focused on the teachers. I had one of my teachers who went to the PD this summer, and she sent me an email after the PD, and I'm just going to read it. It's a really short email, but she said, I'm so picky about PD and always want it to be something I can truly use. So in this summer school we had a video lesson we taught and had to bring. I dreaded it, but it was one of the best things I have ever done. We read chapters 1 and 4 of Jim Knight's book, Focus on Teaching. It was fantastic. Then we watched our videos and used the rubric to assess our teaching. It was very eye-opening and helps us to see things differently, and she is leading that with our faculty. We do videoing, we do going into other teachers' classrooms, but really critiquing our own work, we can do more of, and so she is leading that charge in our building, so we are very, very excited about that. One of the other things, I was there the first day summer school started. Our kiddos, it started at 8, I think breakfast maybe was at 8:15, 8:30, 7:15, we had kids showing up, parents bringing them, and it was like the first day of school. They had their bows in, the gel in their hair, and I was just so excited because summer school, you don't always have that excitement, but that wasn't just the first day, it was all 10 days of our summer school, so it was really a blessing for our kiddos. And the last story that I'll leave you with, we had a teacher who wasn't a teacher at Monitor, but she really connected with some of our outgoing 5th graders that were going to Sonora Middle School. Monitor has a partnership with the local church who provides 100% of our school supplies to our students, but not to our outgoing 5th graders who would be attending Sonora. And she connected with several of them. And so she connected with some community partners, and they were able to provide for many of those students a backpack, a first day set of clothes, and we're talking nice backpacks and nice clothes. They were very excited about those. And then our site leader was able to take them to their house and drop them off. And the faces, I wish I had pictures because it was just remarkable, the faces. So we're going to let Dr. Penner Williams come up and speak just a minute.
I'm usually very brief, but I will say in my 14 years with U of A in the Curriculum and Instruction Department, Diana Gonzalez-Worthen and I have worked together on these grants. And in 2017, we were surprised that 3 of our 3 applications were awarded, this is a national competition and it's very unusual. But we always have to partner with Springdale schools because it's not what we do at the university, it's what we can do with the teachers in the school systems. And because these are from the Office of English Language Acquisition, they want to, we're all about how to best work with English learners, and that's what Springdale is about too, as far as English learners. What can we do better with them? Dr. Bridgeforth has been a great partner. Justin was a great partner. As soon as I talked to him about, this was the first time we'd done a summer school, and he was like, oh yes, we can do a jump start. And I said, yes, I think that'll be just what these kids need. And we do try to mix it up. We work with curriculum writers from Springdale, teachers that can think of different ways to present it, because they don't need to come back and do 2 weeks of the same thing they've done during the year. They need to get excited about learning, which I know that the teachers in Springdale do every day, all year long. But when it's summertime, you have to put a little extra twist in it. And thanks to these wonderful administrators and Dr. Rollins that always supports U of A College of Education, we were able to do it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Next, I'm going to invite Michelle Hutton from Elmdale, and she has some teammates, and Melissa Fink from Jones, who are going to talk to you about their Springdale Family Literacy summer camps.
Well, good evening. Thank you for allowing us to be here tonight to speak about this amazing program. Jones was blessed 3 years ago to pilot the Summer Family Literacy Camp, and we had a lot of success with the program. So the next year, Ms. Hutton and her team joined the cause, and we had a second successful year with the program, and we were able to do it again this year. So Jones was the site for the east side of town, and we had about 20 families participating from schools, from the schools on the east side of town coming to Jones, which is an amazing thing because my family's at Jones and the families at Sonora and HAR-BER and Turnbow Monitor, they get to come together and they get to meet each other, and they're creating and expanding this network to support them as parents. We had about 50 to 60 children that came pre-K through 8 that we were able to serve through this program. And just seeing the families interacting together and working together and the things that they were able to accomplish this summer, it was just amazing. Our families and our children worked together to write and tell their stories. And I know that was very, very special to them to get to work together. We came together this summer. We devised a kind of a skeleton plan, and we turned it over to our teachers and let them plan it, and they really did an amazing job. So I'm going to let Michelle tell you a little bit about her program at Elmdale.
And so when she says we planned together, meaning her teachers and our teachers got together, and so that we could have similar programs on both sides. Then everybody gets everything. But I always come, I've talked last year about our program, but really it's their program. Mr. Orpesa and Mrs. Sue Neese here, they ran the program. Sue is our lead teacher, but Mr. Orpesa, because he knows Spanish, he also has become quite a lead in the program. The program was for 16 half days. We had 18 families that attended regularly and 44 students, and we had 8 elementary schools participate, 1 middle school, and 1 junior high participate. And these guys are awesome. I mean, the energy that was in the cafeteria every morning was just amazing. And so I think that they have the energy and they have the empowerment for what they did during the summer, and I really felt like they needed to tell the story. So, Mr. Orpesa, who also is from the Maestro program, mind you, from Diana Worthing-Gonzalez, and a teacher at Elmdale.
Good evening. I'm all about family. That's one of the things that I loved about this summer program. I think families are my why, and I think families are the why of our school district. So the summer school program was an amazing opportunity for all our families to have something engaging to do during the summer and interact with other families, share ideas, having a fun time to do cooking, to do STEM, and we had a family for the second time this year that she is one of the parents is a half-time worker and is a full-time mom, and she has 7 children. And she was sharing, she said to me, you know, Mr. O, I love this summer program, and I really, really like that now my children are following me, cooking, and now I have the opportunity to work with them during math. I'm doing math with them. So that was an amazing story for me. And since, like I said before, I am all about family, that was really, really rewarding to me. And Miss Neese, of course, working along with her is another great experience.
Mr. O, we just work so well together. We really do. Met and Jeff, or whatever you were going to say. What we learned a couple of years ago, when we started this a couple of years ago, was the families would just get there, sit at their tables, and really not interact with the other families. So what we planned on this year was we were going to have a fun icebreaker at the beginning. And so we had one of our other teachers, Miss Deerenwater, had a couple of her daughters that were there, and they said, oh, let's do this dance, this line dance. Okay, so it's the Hispanic song for Achy Breaky Heart. And so we started the first 2 or 3 days doing line dancing, and oh my goodness, you'd think we'd just struck gold. They loved it. Then we did some icebreakers that would get there. We would ask them funny questions where they would have to talk with each other and tell them, would you rather do this or that, and why? We made them explain. And then, okay, we got to doing some fun icebreakers with some obstacle courses where I don't know, a couple of days where they would have to plan it out. One of them would be sitting. They'd have to have 4 or 5 people in line. One of them would be sitting, and the other one would have to push. And they would have to go through obstacles, and then they would do the cup stacking, and then they'd have to go back. And then the next day, they liked that so much. And so the next day, we took a ping pong ball. And like, what are those things when you swim? The noodles. And so they would have to be in the chair, and one of them would have to be hitting the ping pong ball with the noodle through the obstacle course, talking to each other, you know, what to do. And they had so much fun. Cup stacking with these families. We did different things with the cup stacking. Loved it. And then, just like what Mr. O said, we wanted them to talk together, to do math, to plan. One of the first things we did, and with Ms. Hutton's advice there, we did a research project, which we thought, okay, at first, I'm sorry, Ms. Hutton, research. But these families ate it up. What we did was they researched a plant from their native country, and then they researched a plant native to Arkansas. And then we got up, and they had to report it. And these students had to get up, and they talked about it. And then we got a map, and then we would locate where everything came from. Fabulous. Loved it. And then I'm just going to talk about one other thing. One other STEM project we did, we gave them a box of spaghetti and tape. First of all, before we did that, we showed them some pictures of bridges. And then we took the pictures down because we wanted them to be creative. So with that spaghetti and the tape, they had to build a bridge. And it was amazing, some of the bridges that we got. I mean, you know, the big fancy bridges like you would see in San Francisco.
these families built together. And it was neat. And that took like a week. And it was neat to see a couple of days later some families bringing some things from home, like flowers and stuff to add to their bridges to make it their own. And it's just really good. Each week we had a STEM project for the families to do, and it was just really successful. And to see these parents and the kids together having fun and laughing and just exploring and learning together, it was just so successful and just really enjoyed it. Very good 3-4 weeks together. So yes.
Questions?
Did they come every day of the week?
They came 4 days a week. Yeah, Monday.
So you did it for a month,
Monday
basically.
through Thursday, 4 days a week, 8 to 11:30, 8:30 to 11:30.
That's great.
Just in time for lunch.
That's good.
And how many families did you say you had at each school?
We had about 20.
We had 18 that came regularly.
Okay. And was that the max that you could
That-
handle?
That is really a good number.
Okay.
It
All right.
it fills the whole cafeteria,
Yeah.
because you're talking about families that have children, of 3 children to 7 children. And so when you start adding all that up, it really does fill up the.
So you had 40 or 50 kids.
I had about 50.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you a beautiful thing about it too, just talking about stories of our families. We had 2 moms come to me. One mom is doing dialysis, and she's like, I really want to come, but I can't come every day. It's fine, you come when you can come. Another mom, her child has cancer. I can't come every day. Okay, you come when you come. And when they could be there, they were there. They wanted to be part of something big. It was amazing.
It was, they hated to miss. They really did.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank
for
you.
Continuing it.
Thank you.
So, Dr. Rollins, I have the best job in the whole wide world. I have to thank you because I get to spend every day learning about the things happening in the schools, celebrating with them, and like Nick said, when they talk, you can just see the passion that they exude with the things that they get to do, the difference they make, the ideas that they have. And so, thank you all of you very much. And as you know, we could have highlighted every school probably for the things that they did this summer and the impact that they're making. And that fits right into my next agenda item, which is the elementary school instructional day. The principals and teachers could all tell you that we spend every day of the school year thinking about how we can get better at getting better. How can we serve our students better? How can we provide our students more opportunities? How can we provide our students more innovative learning experiences? And those are conversations that are happening in the schools every single day in PLCs, that we have in our principals meetings. And so we are always looking at how we can do a better job of educating our children. And so as part of those conversations, we look at, like Mr. Wettrick said, the things that we have to do, those minutes that are required for us by the state, things that we have to spend time doing, things that we need to spend time doing, like the reading units of study, the writing units of study. Our math curriculum have prescribed times that we need to spend in those content areas. And then there are those times that we want to spend on what students want to learn, what teachers want to learn, as we dive deeper into personalized learning and innovation and what it looks like to give students choice, to give students opportunity to do research, to do the passion projects, to have the maker spaces, to spend time tinkering and learning. We desperately were trying to figure out how we could capture the extra time to give students those innovative opportunities, that personalized learning. And one of the things that we started talking about was, selfishly, why does 6th through 12th grade get to have 7 hours and 15 minutes of instruction, and elementary only has 7 hours of instruction? The teachers have the same contracted day, but the students don't have the same instructional day. And so we started talking about if we could just align the K-5 instructional day with the 6 through 12 instructional day, that would give us 15 extra minutes that we could devote to doing some of those extra things, some of those innovative kinds of things to give students those opportunities. I was in a school today that has been doing a book study on the curious classroom, and their faculty is so excited about the opportunity of being able to integrate some of the social emotional things that we know about, the soft start, the relationship building with the innovation, and are very excited about being able to give students a different and positive part of the school day that gets their curiosity and their imagination going from the very beginning of the day. And so we looked at different options for those 15 minutes. And if we had added the 15 minutes to the end to have the same time as middle school, that would have affected every single bus route in the district, because the buses start at elementary schools and then run the middle school routes, and then when those are over, they go to the junior high and high school routes. And so for us to have had the exact same time of day as middle school, it would have affected, like I said, every bus route in the district, and so all of the students in the district would have been getting out 15 minutes later, even though their school day didn't change. But if we added it on to the front end, it wouldn't change one single bus route, because the elementary bus routes were already dropped off before 7:45, and it wouldn't affect breakfast either. 13 of our elementary schools have breakfast in the classroom, and so those students were already getting their breakfast at 7:45 and entering the classroom and beginning their school day. In the spring, we had extended the cafeteria workers' hours by 30 minutes. We had extended their contract by 30 minutes, and so that little bit of extra time to their contract allowed them to go ahead and open the cafeterias, start in the other 5 schools, starting at 7:20 instead of 7:30, so that they could have the same amount of service time that they had had before, just on the front end. And so for us, putting that time on the front end meant that there would be no change to the bus services, no change to breakfast. Every student's going to get there on time, and they're all going to get breakfast, anybody that wants to get breakfast. And then it allows us just that little bit of extra time to be able to do some really, really neat things with the students. And the principals and the teachers are so very, very excited about this opportunity and what it's going to allow them to do differently with their students. And I know they're excited about sharing some of that with you when you come to your school board luncheons this year. So in your packet there is an FAQ for some of the other questions. Every school is meeting the needs of their families a little bit differently, and so it's hard to put out 18 different ways, but I can tell you that the schools have really worked with, the principals have worked with their teachers and their parents. Most of the schools are opening between 7:10 and 7:20, depending on when their first bus riders get dropped off, so that the doors are open. I was able to get to 10 of the schools today, and one of the principals told me that she had multiple parents thanking her as they were going through the car rider line this morning, saying, "You have no idea how awesome it is that I can drop my child off at 7:20. I'm going to be able to make it to work on time this year." And she said that there were several parents who had thanked her for that, because it was going to make a difference. So I think that's it. Do you all have questions?
I think we heard some questions, and
Yes.
I also think we missed an opportunity to talk about it in our originally scheduled work session.
Absolutely.
I think so.
Yes.
I can't confirm that.
Yes.
'Cause I can't remember,
Yes.
but I think that's why maybe this time may have taken some of us a
Sure.
little by surprise.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
Somebody
And
correct
there
me if
were
I'm wrong, but
questions.
I think that is the case.
Yes, and there were questions, and I know principals were monitoring Facebook and reaching out to those families to try and help alleviate their fears. And if you have anybody that has contacted with you with questions, I know principals would would love for you to direct them to them, because the principals are working really, really hard to make it a positive transition. And their goal is that people won't even notice a difference, that their children are just going to get to start school at 7:45.
But we appreciate the information.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know if principals have anything they want to add to y'all. They did have great days. Like you said, every school I went to today said things were great.
That's early. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, I think my portion have some inserts for you on page 58 through 65. But what I'd like to talk to you about this evening.
Hey, real quickly, Doctor, is
Oh,
this
sir.
a picture of you at the?
Could be. It could be Robert Guadini. He captured that from somewhere. It may be Dr. Rollins. You know, that's a pretty tough spot. If anybody doesn't know, it's just a guy that looks like me. Okay, we'll talk. I think my first, am I talking about construction first? Kevin's got me off guard here.
That's the tactic.
Okay. Dr. Rollins and I went on a tour last week, and we continuously tour around the facilities. This work this summer has been pretty labor intensive, and it's been fun. And I think Dr. Rollins mentioned part of it earlier in the presentation tonight or in the board meeting. But Jeremy White, I know I brag on him all the time. He gets tired of it. He's getting used to it now, so I think if I don't do it, he's going to brag on me tonight. But Jeremy and his team have done some phenomenal work. I can't mention enough names. Custodians this year, let me just tell you, some of the custodians have learned some new things, some skills on how to polish concrete, save the district literally thousands of dollars, thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars to do this kind of work. They've painted, they've done additional things well beyond what a general custodian would do. They've learned new skills. I could not be more proud of our custodial team. And if you ever come across, and you may know several folks that are custodians, please thank them because they've done yeoman's work. They really have. Our lawn mowing guys, they moved furniture all weekend for 20-something hours, and they were happy to do it, I think. They volunteered. We didn't make them, so they showed up. So I think I saw the list that Mr. Hayes got today of overtime over the weekend of 20 or so hours, something like that. Upwards. Yeah, well, at this point, Dr. Rollins was like, hey, boys, better get done. So we'll see you. So, and he did, and we did, and I tell you, I'm very proud of them just for the Archer Center. Dr. Rollins found me, I don't know where I was the other day, and he said, son, you look bad. Are you okay? And I was with Jeremy. And I said, oh, am I bad? Yeah, you look bad. Are you okay? Sure, we're going to be fine. And lo and behold, we are. And I'm very thankful to have had an opportunity to work with those people. Wonderful, wonderful people. Custodians, lawnmowers, maintenance guys, Jeremy Allen, Wayne Buttram. They've just gone far and above. And I know you know that, and I know sometimes I can get up here and ramble on about how great they are, but they are. That's just the way it is. Springdale Schools is loaded with fantastic people in every position. And without them, our work, he would not get the praise and glory and honor he's due, and you wouldn't either, and this community wouldn't be seen as a place or a lighthouse to live. And anyway, thanks for that little opportunity. SOI, I was out at SOI this morning. We've looked at the brick. There was an issue a little bit with the brick. We were afraid it would not match. Dr. Rollins looked at it the other day, and it just didn't. But Baldwin and Shell has come up with a good option. Taken some pictures today. Dr. Rollins approved it this morning. So our brick is going to match, and it's going to look really good for the second phase along with phase one. We're on schedule with phase one or phase two. Have you been out there? Any of you driven by and seen the big silver building that's up in the air? I look forward to next week. If all of you can make it to the work session, we're going to go to tour for the thing. We'll have hats, we'll have shirts, everything that you need in order to be safe. Yes, sir. At School of Innovation? There may be some. I don't have any knowledge of them working 24 hours a day. Jeremy, do you know? Yeah.
Okay, 'cause I went by there the other night, we were going out to see the meteor
Yeah.
shower. It was like midnight, and there's lights everywhere, so maybe it's just lit up like that.
It may be the gentleman that's moving some dirt. He may be loading out some dirt and trucking that. Let me check into that. There really shouldn't be anybody. Well, I do. I hope nobody's out there that shouldn't be out there. So we'll look into that, and we'll ask Cameron. Jeremy, if you don't mind to make that connection for us. Okay.
Probably security.
I'm sorry?
It's probably for security, my guess, but.
It may very well be. So we're going to check. So if you saw it, we need to check it. Moving on to Archer. You saw some pictures this morning. I sent you all and Dr. Rollins some pictures. Thank you for the nice return. But I just wanted you to see. We're just really proud. Thank you so much for showing up, Ms. Creek, and participating. Well, I think you participated just a little bit. You showing up meant a lot, so thank you all for those of you that have done that. But we're going to make it. We are not complete. It is not a buttoned-up, finished construction project, but we are close. And we wouldn't be close without all the maintenance staff, custodians, and all that I've already gone through. But I have to tell you, Dr. Davis, Nicole Davis, the assistant principal, and all of their staff, they were all there too. And they didn't have to be, not required to be. They were asked if they could be. And of course, I think they were excited to be in the new facility too. So all weekend, when I was there on and off, and all this morning, the staff was just as happy as they could be. I was a little surprised that we had the number of students that we had show up. Dr. Davis told me we had right at 200 that came today. That's a large amount for a first day in alternative ed. So we're hopeful that that number will continue to grow, and I'm sure it will as he onboards new students into the program. But it is a phenomenal place. You'll get to see it next week if you haven't. So we look forward to that. In regard to baseball, softball, HAR-BER's all but done in regard to baseball, softball. We do have a couple of fencing pieces of work we're going to do. We're going to do some crowd control out in the left field and along the road. We're also going to add a couple of higher pieces that goes from the backstop over the dugout. So we're going to do that. It needs to match. It needs to make sure that we don't have any busted noses or broken teeth in the stands. Dr. Rollins has also approved us to go ahead and add some additional bleachers on those wings. It'll be more full, and I think with our teams that we're going to field in softball and baseball over the next few years, those places will be full with fans, and we want that. That's a good thing, so we're excited about it. I really think that it's a great opportunity. If you look, I think you all were at the Performing Arts Center at Springdale High, and you saw the construction at the end of the track. That is the Dennis DeBusk area for the track. We'll have a nice sign there going up in the next few weeks. We also have the concession stand and 2 additional tennis courts that you talked about over time that we've been able to do. And it's coming along nicely. Tennis season is upon us, so it does create a little bit of difficulty with tennis at SHS. Right now, I think we're going to try to use some of the parks around and even our our partner across town that has tennis courts. So we're going to use those and try to hustle and get those done. Right now, we can practice there, but we don't necessarily need to play, have other districts in to play in a construction zone. So as soon as that's done, we'll release it, and it'll be ready to go. Any other thing? Did I miss anything, Doc? Oh, the health center. Okay. About 3 weeks ago, we were released to do that. The city gave us full approval. We've scratched the ground. We're starting to build. It's a little bit of a slower process. We want to make sure that kids are able to get in and out of the new, the front part of Parson Hills, but it is going pretty well. It's not a very long build, so in about 4 months, we should be looking at completion, and I will begin to send you pictures as picture quality worthy work is ready. Okay, anything else on construction? Okay, look forward to discussing the 10-year master plan and the trips and all of next week. I think you'll be pleased with what you see, because I'm excited about showing it to you. I'm really excited about doing that. In regard to personnel update, I first wanted to show you the district enrollment tracking. I showed this to Dr. Rollins at one of our events last week. Maybe this week, I don't know. We've lost track of the days. But right now, we're looking at, and Robert Guardini, who's our master statistician, he reviewed previous years, looked at September 7th. I'm not sure why September 7th. It's just a good middle date of when we've had drops. And you can look from each group, from kindergarten all the way through 12th grade, what the class enrollment was to what it is this year. Now, keep in mind, that's not comparing this or last year's kindergarten to this year's first grade. It's just kindergarten to kindergarten. And so it's day one. And you can see overall the trend of where we've gained and where we've lost just a little bit. But the overall projection, and it's worth about as much as salt is, but right now the overall projection looks like we could be up as many as 245 to potentially 307. Now, when I look at the three-quarter average, I think Mr. Hayes told me it was 21,885. Is that the right number, Mr. Hayes? If you take the three-quarter average, 21,885, and then subtract that from what we believe our enrollment is today, that could be as many as 402. I wouldn't carry that to the bank. As we know for sure, and you've all known this for quite a while, when a student doesn't show up at a school district for 10 days, you drop them. So if we don't get any requests for records, let's say we get a request for record, we know that student's not coming back. We send those records to the new district where it is, wherever it is in the country. If we receive no request for records after 10 days, state requirements are that we drop the student. So in 10 days, we'll know more about our enrollment. Ms. Kendra Clay will be sending out an account tomorrow, a Google Sheet, and we'll be able to populate everything. Dr. Rollins will update him every day, and I'm sure if you'd like any information, you'll certainly be able to get it from him. And if he's not available, certainly I or Kelly Hayes or Ms. Kendra Clay will be available to get you those numbers. Anyway, looks good. We're pleased right now with where we sit in regard to enrollment. In regard to personnel, my pages are 58 through 65. We have those in there. Dee Hobbs, I have to always give her credit. She does a nice job of pulling things together for me. But as of this particular moment, we have 115 new personnel to the district. Dr. Rollins and I will be telling you over this next several days, we've held on some positions to make sure kids are actually here. So I think 3 kindergarten classrooms across the district. We have potentially a long-term sub there that could roll into a certified position, but right now we're just on hold until we make sure we have those kids. We would rather create a class than bus kids across from a school to another school. The important page for us overall district-wide is page 65. You've probably already looked at it, but 65 is important. I like to look at where we were last year in comparison to where we are this year. In 2018, we had 1,746 people, but 1,731 full-time equivalents, FTEs, meaning overall positions. Across the district, we have .17s, we have .5s, we just have part-time folks all across the district. This year, we have increased 13.17 positions. And you say, okay, well, Jared, why? We haven't really grown that much. We've added 4 East teachers. We've added some SPED positions. There are some kindergarten positions across the district that we did grow, partly because the year before we went from a large kindergarten class and reverted back. Does that make sense? And now the class is growing just a little. So we've added a couple of those positions. And we've added some positions to School of Innovation because they did grow as well. So overall, so far, Kelly Hayes has not even mentioned it to me. He hasn't gotten mad. He hasn't thrown a fit. He hasn't stomped around. And neither has Dr. Rollins in regard to the numbers that we've added. So that was my attempt at humor.
You've been on vacation, hadn't you, Kelly?
He's holding back. Was he not fantastic? He and Van Stuman did a great job. Okay. Overall, I believe that I think we're in good shape. As you know, if we overstaff, it could be catastrophic financially. So it's very vital that we pay attention to each position. And so far, I think we've done that this year probably better than we've done in the past. I've gotten a little better, and so have they. So, if you have any questions in regard to personnel? Yes, sir.
What do you have an average dollar amount in your mind of, so 8.17 it looks like is what we paid, looks like 5 positions were picked up in funding elsewhere. What's
SPED
the
and NSL.
I'm sorry.
SPED and
Okay.
NSL.
So what's the average cost when you consider salary plus benefits of an average teacher? So 8.17, is that times 60,000 or is it?
Yeah, 60,000 plus another 23%.
Okay, for the benefits and stuff.
75 to 80.
Okay, all right.
A lot of times Dr. Rollins will tell me, Jared, that's 100,000 per person. You're going to have to slow it down. Well, I hope the report's okay. If it generates any questions, feel free to give us a call. If it doesn't, then certainly we have the work session next week to discuss as well. Any other questions? All right. Hey, thank you so much.
Thank you. You gonna ask her that?
Good evening. I have 2 items on your agenda to talk about. The first one is an update on the dark store theory that we have talked about a couple of times at least. After your meeting last month, there was a 2-day hearing in Pulaski County regarding the property assessment of several Walmart and Sam's Club stores in Pulaski County. We talked about what those implications could be, not only for our district, but statewide. It's really hard to get a good feel on what the numbers would be, but we know that it could be potentially big. I hoped that when we talked today, we would have a decision out of the Pulaski County Court, but there is not one yet. From everything I've read and everyone I've talked to, the decision is expected soon. And I'm hoping that we have something before your work session next week because Russell Hill, who is the Washington County Assessor, and is kind of leading the charge in the state on making interested parties aware of this situation, is going to be here to spend about 30 minutes with you. So I would encourage you to be prepared to ask questions, learn as much as you can about this issue. It's hard. You know, the more I read about it, the more questions and the harder it is for me to grasp. But he will be here next week to answer questions, and hopefully we'll have a decision from the Pulaski County Court on what happens there. I'm hearing that both sides will appeal all the way to the Arkansas Supreme Court, so the Pulaski County decision certainly won't be an end or give any answers, but it will show kind of where the courts are leaning at this point. Do you have any questions on that issue today?
How many steps are there from whatever happens on this decision? Like, what's the next step to get to the Supreme Court? Or do you know?
I don't know. I'll find out. I'll find out before. No, it's not at circuit court yet. So, yes, yep. Possibly with a stop at Court of Appeals in there too. So, yeah.
This is going to go on for a while.
it seems that way. And then there's always the possibility of settlement before it progresses to the next step. And I guess that's good for the parties involved, but doesn't give a lot of direction for anybody else who's watching the case. So we'll be watching this issue for a while, I anticipate. Okay, the next item on the agenda is several out-of-district transfers. There's about 16 students that are requesting to come into the district. You'll see all of them listed there. There is a typo in number 5. It says one of the students is age 1. That student is actually age 11, so yes. If there aren't any questions, I would just ask that you approve these students to transfer into our district.
I move we approve these transfers.
Have a motion by Mr. Luttrell, is that correct?
Yes.
Second by Mrs. Creek to approve the transfers requested for the Springdale School District. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Board, when the dark store theory first started coming up, we started looking at the numbers that how it would affect us. About 25% of our tax base is commercial property, and if that were to be valued at, say, half of its present value, the dollars to the district would be about $8 million in total. However, according to the funding formula as it is today, the state is required to make up any deficit on the first 25 M&O mills, which would be about $5 million of the $8 million, which would mean that our district then would lose the remaining amount. But as you can imagine, if you were to multiply that across our entire state against every school district, what a burden or what a additional cost that would put on the state. No, sir, that would be if our commercial property was cut in half on our assessment. I did it for the entire. Yes, sir, I am.
So it would be on that hypothetical analysis, about $3 million a year?
It would be $3 million for the Springdale School
Just the
District.
Springdale
About
School District.
3.3 is what I calculated for our district, yes.
If the state could come up with the rest of their.
That's correct. And then
that seems like almost impossible.
well, it's a lot. So. And the only reason I'm bringing this up is because when Mr. Hill does his presentation, he will probably talk to you about $8 million, and I think I had mentioned earlier 3.3, and I wanted to kind of give you that whole picture there so you could see.
What we don't have, as I understand it, is the impact on the state as a whole.
No, exactly.
Then comes the question, what if the state cannot honor their commitment?
Right.
Then does it fall back to the local schools to try to do the very best they can through the increase in local villages of study? Is that a reasonable approach to it?
Well, Dr. Rollins, that would be something we would all have to study. Obviously, the amount per student is set in law right now that schools are be funded. So you've experienced when they have revised state aid notices, does the legislature have to go back into session?
The legislature would have, I would think the legislature would have to go back
Right.
into.
Yep, to deal with something
And
like
really,
that.
it could easily be another late deal that much time, seems to me.
Board, the only item that I have for you this evening are the July financials. I am diligently working on the budget for this school year. I know that especially those that have an accounting background, it seems rather odd that we've started the school year without a budget in place. That is kind of the essence of school business because we have so much of our budget tied up in salary and benefits, and we are still having resignations today and hiring new folks. By bringing it to you a little later, we have much more accurate numbers for you to review. So I'm in the process of working on that now, and we will have it for you at our next board meeting. Therefore, the budget amounts that you see reflected in this report are actually the 18-19 budget. I just picked those up from this past year, just as I did the year before. So, in looking at our report, there were a couple of unusual things that I wanted to point out to you guys. On the revenue summary page, you can see that the federal part is in the red, and that is because of the way they make us do our accounting for federal. We are required to, let me back up. We are always reimbursed for our federal expenses. We have to spend the money and then the federal government reimburses us. So we're always behind until we hit June 30, and then the state requires us to book a receivable for all the money that we are due. Then in July, they require us to reverse that receivable, therefore throwing me back in for 1 month in negative revenue. It's a very confusing thing. I'm sorry, I don't, it's just getting us back to where we're reimbursing again. It's kind of goofy. That I'll be happy to go into more detail if any of you would like that. And then the same thing on the July expenditure report on the expenditure page. We had a item that we had to book in June to obligate the money. We haven't spent the money yet, so therefore it's showing up as a negative expenditure. Some weird stuff this month, but overall, we are in good shape. We are about where we were this time last year, so I feel good about it. Any questions?
No, I'm sorry.
I'll make a motion to approve the financials as presented.
We have a motion by Mr. Emerson, a second by Mrs. Cook to approve the monthly financials for July. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Thank you.
Good evening. Welcome back. I'm happy to be here with you all tonight on, well, our first day back with students. It was a great day, and I'm starting my 8th year in Springdale, and I still think that it's the best school district, and that's thanks to your hard work and the foundation that Dr. Rollins and all of our administrators have laid for us. SEA, June was kind of slow for us. We took a little bit of a break, and July really picked back up. One of the great things that we got to do in July was we had a luncheon with Kathy McFetridge. She listened to us about different ways that she could help support students and our teachers across Northwest Arkansas. Several different school districts were represented, and I just feel so blessed that we have her in Little Rock serving our students, and I know that you guys agree with me on that too. Chris is not here tonight, but she has been making a lot of progress on our partnership with 7 schools that we have in Springdale, working with the staff to help train them in teaching students who come from trauma. She's working with Jones Elementary, Parson Hills, Sonora Elementary, Tyson Elementary, Southwest Junior High, Helen Tyson Middle School, and HAR-BER. And she asked me to ask you to please put October 1st in your calendars. There's supposed to be a big event surrounding this, and since she couldn't be here tonight, she said that she would be giving more information on that at the next meeting. She has had a great time going into the schools and talking with the teachers and the administrators, and everyone has been so helpful and just great to work with. So we are really looking forward to seeing how this will help our students in Springdale. I brought a few of my executive board members with me tonight just so y'all could see some other faces and introduce them to you. We've been working really hard this month to support the new educators in our district. We've given away lots of supplies for classrooms and five classroom scholarships to new educators. So we've really enjoyed getting to know them and learning from them too, and encouraging them a little bit. But this is Madeline Hewins, and she teaches at the School of Innovation. This is her 2nd year to teach in Springdale, so we have loved her perspective as a new educator. She teaches ceramics, Art 1, and 6th grade art. And then Sherry Penalto, she is our educational support staff representative, and she works at Southwest Junior High.
And Dawn Graham is my vice president, and she teaches ceramics at HAR-BER. So I'm glad to have them with me tonight. We have a little back to school happy for you guys, just to show our appreciation, because our year wouldn't be successful without y'all, and we're very grateful for you. And we'd like to invite you to our back to school celebration on Friday. So thanks again for having us. It was a great first day, and it seems fitting to end it with you guys. So thank you.
So this is your second year, right?
Yes.
And how many years?
This is my 19th year.
19th and 16.
Yep.
Well, great.
All right. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Seven brew. I like Seven brew. Thank you.
Thank you.
Heavy on the mister. Heavy on the mister. We are adjourned. 6:57.